Hello and welcome back. Quick review today. I wanted to take a look at the Revan saber from Rogue Armory Creations. Now, I first started to see these things around a lot in the custom market. These are the etching community's sort of favorite canvas right now. You can see the one that I've got right here actually has been etched by Shadowcrest Designs. So you see a lot of these around. I've seen some Game of Thrones ones, really neat House Greyjoy one with a kraken. I wanted to talk about the hilt design because it's a little bit difficult because these people deal primarily with Etsy. It's a little bit difficult to see some of the features of what you're going to be getting. Rogue Armory does their own installs. You can get them with a Spark board, I believe. There's some other options as well. A lot of people just buy the empty hilts. This one was an empty hilt. This specific one is outfitted with a 3D printed chassis and a Prizm V4 board in RGB. So I'll take a little look at that, but primarily I wanted to look at the hilt. So this is the hilt. You can see from the size of it compared to my hand, the Rogue Armory Creations are rather large hilts. I mean, they're on par with an Ultra Saber's hilt size. This is about the same size and a very similar shape to my Ultra Saber Shock. If you're looking at things like the Vader's Vault Revan or the Saberforge Revan, this is going to be bigger. It's weighted differently as well, so let me cover that a little bit. This hilt is made out of 4 pieces. Okay, we have a pommel, and you'll notice something about this pommel. It's hollow, it's very light. Okay, a lot of lightsabers use very heavy pommels as a counterweight. This is not one of them, so it's a very light pommel. We have a body section. Now, some of the ones that are that I've seen in the market actually have a reveal here, where you pull off this section and there's an etched underlayer. This one underneath here, there's my chassis and my Prizm board and recharge port, 3D printed. But the the hilt section itself, here it is. It's basically a tube, a couple accents down here. One thing about this though, this is a lot thinner than what I'm used to. Saberforge, Ultra Sabers, even Vader's Vault. This is a lot thinner. It's not as thin as a sync tube. It's still aircraft aluminum and it's sturdy, but it's just thinner and wider than what I'm used to. Okay, it screws on to this main section here, and then we have an emitter on top. Now, compared to the main hilt section and the pommel, which are very light, these two sections are very heavy. You can see the width of that aluminum here. Okay, most of the weight is concentrated right here. Your LED unit fits in right there, and the emitter screws in right on top of it. Now I'm going to leave it apart for a second here because I want to focus on this emitter. This is to my mind, one of the more interesting aspects of the design. Alright, so the emitter, it's heavy, like I said, but you'll also notice something as I turn it. There is no blade retention screw on here. Usually we're used to having to carry around those little hex wrenches and tighten in the blade and unscrew or putting in a thumb screw. There's an absence of that on here. What this has, if you see inside, you see those 2 black lines on the inside? Those are rubber rings. Okay, so what this saber actually does, which I think is a very interesting feature, is instead of attaching the blade with a set screw, we put the whole thing back together here. Instead of attaching the blade with a set screw, with these things, you push the blade in, twist it a little bit, it'll sink down and the rubber grips it. And it actually grips it really well. When I first saw this, I was very skeptical of it. I thought I was going to be throwing a blade when I was spinning this thing or or dueling with it. I dueled with it, I spun it around a lot, I put a lot of force and stress on this thing. This blade did not move. In order to get it out, I have to do more than just pull. I have to kind of twist in order to actually get this blade to come out. Right? And that twist is something that you're not likely to actually have occur during use. So those rubber things, that's an innovation. I rather like that. That's something I had never seen before. So all things told, a solid hilt. My only complaint with it is it's very top heavy. This part, most of the weight is sitting right here as opposed to in this whole section of the hilt. Interesting design. A lot of them that I've seen have had the activation buttons drilled in them. This specific one has two low profile activation and auxiliary buttons right here. So altogether a really nice, really sturdy saber. It's got some features that I really liked. The weight you get used to. If you're gripping it up here especially, it's not too big of a deal, or if you're two-handing it. But a very nice, very solid, sturdy hilt. Definitely very Revan inspired. I think even with the larger size, I think I kind of prefer this one to some of the smaller options that are out there. And it's certainly, there's a lot of really nicely etched ones out there on the market right now because the etchers really seem to like or love this hilt. So that's Rogue Armory. It's kind of hit or miss if you can get them when their Etsy shop is up and going and when they're not on vacation. So these things are lower production than some of the others, but definitely an interesting hilt, and hopefully this has given you a little bit of a close-up so that you can see whether or not this is the sort of thing you're interested in. If it is, or if you've liked the video, please join me back for more.